Sabbath, because to witches, this is our highest Sabbath. This is it. It's the biggest night of the year.
And that's bigger than anything to the
absolutely.
witches. Yeah. I've spent a couple of Halloweens in Salem.
Yep.
And that is an experience, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and one of the things that I noticed early on when I first started going to Salem, I must have been there 3 or 4 times for Halloween since around 2000, I guess it was. Anyway, so, and one of the things I noticed though was that there are people, when everyone's out there and they got costumes on, they're having a great time, and then there's a whole bunch of fuddy-duddies standing on the side with signs protesting.
Yep.
Now, they're protesting because they are saying things like, oh, this is the devil's work and all this kind of stuff, and you're all going to burn in hell because you've got a costume on and you're celebrating Halloween. What do you say about that?
Well, I think you're always going to have your extremists, and no matter what we do or where we are. In Salem, it's probably more your target because everybody is dressed up, everybody's having a good time.
Yeah, so they get to hit more people.
Exactly.
But they're hitting the wrong people because those are the people that don't care about what they're saying.
It's probably even not the people that are witches in the religious aspect.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the witches in Salem, they do their own parties and stuff like that, so a lot of them own shops, so they won't be really walking around the street unless they're having like a witch tour. So a lot of people that these people are protesting are just average people who want to dress up and have fun, and you have the extremists who are trying to ruin that for them.
So really they're wasting their time.
Exactly. But they don't just target witches. I've been there last year, and they were targeting homosexuals, and it was just so overwhelming because you can't even go out and have a good time anymore without somebody putting a sign in your face.
Yeah, yeah.
With me, I let people know I'm a witch. I live my life as a witch.
Yeah, you're not ashamed of that.
Absolutely not. I wear my pentacle. I don't care if I'm running into Dunkin' Donuts or, just food shopping. We're everyday people.
Yeah.
I am just truly blessed that I'm able to own a shop.
Yeah.
And be able to knock on wood. Thank you. Make a living by helping and also educating. Because educating's the big thing. Educating people on what witches are.
Oh yeah, well there are a lot of people that have the notion, their own notions about what Wiccan is and what it isn't, and they have their own beliefs about it, and if they read up on it a bit, they might be a little bit more understanding.
Exactly. Just to read and educate themselves. Even the research that I've been doing over the last 25 years, because I've been doing this for about 25 years, like I said, we're always learning something different, and just by sitting down and doing some research for tonight's show too, I've learned about other cultures. So if people just took the time before going out with signs and saying, "Oh, you're in Salem and it's Halloween, so you're going to go to hell," it's just
people really can't make those assumptions.
No, exactly.
People.
There's psychics who are Christian. There's some witches who practice Christianity.
Yeah, I know. There are people.
Don't box yourself in.
Right. There are people who are Christians. They practice their Christianity. They believe in God and Jesus and all that, but they also believe that there's something to the elements of nature that they could harness and use to their advantage.
Even lighting candles. I mean, this is a candle that actually Richie made.
Oh, wow.
He does all by hand.
Wow.
And this is a skull candle. And this particular candle, this actually has patchouli and our own special, we call it witch's brew. It's a special oil. When you've seen us make oils.
And what will this candle do?
This candle is going to actually help people communicate with their ancestors. So this should actually be lit on October 30th at midnight, going into the 31st.
Right.
So like at that midnight, so you have it burning a whole 24 hours. And by having this lit, you're going to, like I said, get signs, get validations, maybe even dream about people who passed on that want to give you a message.
Really?
Halloween is very, very strong. The energy is very, very good, but very, very strong as well.
And getting back to being a Christian, we go to church and we light candles.
Absolutely.
And it's really the same thing. because you're actually just putting out energy to get a result, all right? Sometimes your result will be that you're praying for someone who's sick or someone who's dead or or whatever, or you're asking for a favor or whatever the case may be. But you go into church, you kneel down. A lot of people say that Catholics talk to statues. We don't talk to statues. Okay?
Right.
We talk to the
energy
that the statue represents.
Exactly.
If you're talking to St. Teresa, you're not talking to the statue. The statue's not going to do anything for you. It's a bunch of plaster.
Right.
But who it represents, that's your focus.
Absolutely.
You know?
It's a tool.
It's a tool.
It's a tool.
Just like in Wiccan, there's tools, and in Catholicism, there are tools.
Yep.
And they all really amount to about the same thing.
One door, many different keys that open that one door. That's
Right.
religion.
Yes.
You know, and if we take the time to understand it, we'll be better people for it. My thing is, somebody had asked me the other day, because we were talking about the witch's ball, and they said, you know, if I can either change or see something different for the future of Halloween, what would it be? And I would love for Halloween, and I see it. I don't know if it's going to be in my lifetime, but I see it being an observed holiday, where if you say, I'm a witch, and I would like to have Halloween off, you can get it off. Or
It
my children,
would have to become a law.
My child's a witch, and you know what? On this particular day, on Halloween, I like to keep my child home. Every other religion does it.
Yeah, sure.
You know? And I would love to see that. And if we make little milestones, to me, it's a big,
Well, you
it's
may
the
see
whole.
it in your lifetime.
I hope
You're
so.
young
I
enough.
really do. You know, and these are things that we're trying to change and we're trying to do. It's not all about just having, you know, spooky decorations. The holiday itself is very beautiful and meaningful.
And fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Because there's two ways you can do. You can observe it as a religious night and do ritual. You can observe it as a fun night and have a party, or you can do it together.
Well, I was going to say, we could
Yep,
do both.
because what we're going to do as well is also we're going to have a witch's circle
At the party.
at the party. And what I'm going to tell people is if you'd like to participate, you may. If you wouldn't, you know, like to, you don't have to.
Right.
But the only thing that we're going to do is we're going to do a circle, and we're going to only project good things into our lives.
Well, that's what the Wiccan
That's
religion
it.
is all about, is about being, you know, doing good things.
Exactly.
Tell me, is there any particular number of people that are supposed to be in one of these circles, or
Well,
doesn't matter?
Traditionally, they say 13, but it's 2012,
Yeah.
so it doesn't matter.
Doesn't
I
matter.
mean, you know, as long as we can get everybody in a circle, it's fine.
Right.
You know, and conduct the circle and actually charge the energy of that night.
So what goes on during one of these circles?
Well, what we do is we usually have an altar as well. And our altars are usually decorated with pumpkins and gourds, anything that has to do with the nature and the particular elements of that. So it would be fall. So we would put leaves on the altar, we would put pumpkins and gourds, and candles that represent the colors. So usually we would do black and orange. Black is the combination of all colors, and the orange represents the harvest. So we would light the candles in conjunction of doing prayers. And as you were saying, Christians do prayers, we do spells. It's the same thing.
Right, you're calling upon higher-ups to do something that you would like them to do, to see something happen that you would like to see happen.
Exactly.
And that's what happens when you pray and light a candle in church and everything.
You manifest it, you draw it down. That's all it is. It's, you know, it's a projection. And as long as it's right and correct, you'll get it.
What is the witch's motto?
The witch's motto is do it that wilt and it harm none, which means we can do whatever we want. As long as it
you don't
doesn't
hurt anybody.
anyone, any
Any living
animal,
thing, right?
Yep, plant.
Well, yeah.
And it also, we
Well,
believe
sometimes when it comes to plants, I mean, you know, you have to eat and all that, you know.
Right. With the plants and stuff, that kind of goes into the green witchcraft too. And again, that's another tradition. That's not what we practice.
Right.
But, you know, as long as you don't harm any animal, person, situation, because it's
mind your
karma.
own business.
Exactly, it's karma. Somebody might have to go through what they're going through.
Yes,
You know, and
that's
it-
true.
it could
Sometimes
be,
that's the case.
You know, a dictator or something bad that happens in the past, a person, you know, even, again, off topic, but a person like Hitler. That was his karma, you know, and I'm sure he's paying for his sins,
I'm sure.
you know.
We all pay for our sins.
Absolutely. So it's the individual's act, and that's what we believe in. It's a threefold law. It means whatever we do gets sent back to us threefold, good or bad. So if we do something good, we get it back 3 times. So why do something bad? Why?
But there are people
that will.
Yeah, they will anyway. They think they're going to get away with it.
Yep.
They don't realize that karma is a real thing, and what you do comes back to you.
Yep. And sometimes I say tenfold. Because,
It depends on the universe and what it feels like giving you at that point.
And some people, they can do bad things in this lifetime and get away with it, but guess what? You're going to come back in the next lifetime and we do it all over again.
That's right. That's right.
So none of us, I don't care how spiritual you are, none of us can outrun karma.
And you can't outrun God.
Nope. Whoever you believe in, whoever's looking down on you, God, goddess, angels, we have to respect it.
Yeah.
And no matter how many spells we do, and I tell people this all the time, if you're doing a spell and it's not correct and it's not going to come out, you can do 1,000 candles. If it's not right and correct,
it's not going to work.
It's not going to work. Why would you want it? Why would you want something that's not right or correct?
That's right.
And you know what? We're human, so it does take us a while to get it.
Yes.
Yes. But after, learning and teaching, and I think at such a young age for me, growing up around this, I've learned sooner because I've seen the threefold law. None of us are perfect.
No, of course not.
So we send thoughts out too sometimes, and we have to neutralize them. But I think I've learned so much at a young age seeing my mom practice and what she taught me as well. And it's just amazing. It really was. It was an amazing experience that I would never give it up. Never give it up.
No, I mean, as long as I've known you, you're very happy with what you're doing.
Absolutely. I always say, as long as I'm able to put a roof over my head and food in my mouth, I'm happy.
Yeah.
You don't need a Lexus, you don't need a Mercedes to drive around in. I'm happy. I have a new car, I'm happy, I'm fine, you know what I'm saying? I live in a mansion.
Right.
As long as I'm humble about it.
Oh, sure, and grateful.
Yep, and every day I knock wood and say how blessed I am.
Oh, yeah.
Every day.
That is one way to get blessings also, is to say how blessed you are and then say how grateful you are to be blessed.
Absolutely.
It is very important. An attitude of gratitude for what you have, and also gratitude in advance for what you want.
Exactly. And you know what? Some people may want the Mercedes and the big house, and there's nothing wrong with it. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. Go out, do it.
Go out, earn the money, get it, you deserve it.
You work hard, you play hard.
Yeah.
And, with me, I am just so happy that I'm able, knock on wood, we're going on 7 years at the shop. We just, August made 7 years.
It wasn't long after you opened up that I walked in there.
It was weeks. It was weeks because I believe you were at the Salvation Army and you saw the sign.
Yeah, something like that.
And you came in and we clicked and did a show.
That's right. As a matter of fact, if I recall correctly, you were telling me that you had put out a little energy because you knew I had the show. And you put out a little energy that I would walk in and ask you to be on, and that's exactly what happened.
Because I didn't speak to you prior to that at all.
Not
we
at
met
all,
for the first time.
Not till the day I walked into your shop. And to tell you the truth, the only way I really knew the shop was there at that point in time, I could have found out about it later.
It was so new.
I would have found out about it eventually, but I knew it early because a lady friend of mine who's now gone, she's a wonderful woman, my friend Muriel, she used to love to go and haunt. You remember Muriel?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, she's passed. Anyway, though, she used to love to go and haunt the, excuse the French, the word, but she used to love to go to the thrift shops.
Yep.
And the Alzheimer's thrift shop was down Castleton Avenue at that time, almost to the end of Castleton Avenue. So we had to pass your shop to get there. And I happened to notice the purple canopy.
Yep.
And I says, oh, look at that. And I had to go there, and then I think one day while we were over at she used to like to go to the Salvation Army too, and which is also no longer there.
Yes.
But anyway, though, and then that's when I came in, and that was
7 years ago.
Yeah.
Like a blink of an eye, it just kind of like flew by.
Oh God! Well, you know what's happening with the 2012 and everything, and everything is speeding up.
Oh yeah.
The time is speeding up.
Everything's going into alignment now.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Anyway, so did a show about that recently too, but in the meantime, no. So it's it's amazing how far we've come.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So anything else that you have a little pendulum there. Tell us about the pendulum and what that does.
Absolutely. Now, pendulums can come in all different crystals.
Right, you gave me one in rose quartz.
Yes, we did the
I have it
Valentine's Love Show.
Yes. I have that on my vanities. It's in the little box you gave me.
And oh, really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I still have it, yeah.
And that rose quartz is very good to draw love and also for self-esteem and self-confidence. Each crystal does something different. Each crystal represents something
So what is that?
different.
Some kind of an
This is like,
agate? Or?
Yeah. And what this one is, the reason why I picked this one is because it has a crow on top.
Okay. Oh, yeah, look at that.
I'm so drawn to crows.
Really?
My main goddess is the Morgan. And what that means is she's one of the warrior goddesses. And actually, she's the goddess that watches over Halloween, watches over Samhain.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And she shapeshifts into a crow. So she could turn into a crow.
Oh, really?
Yep. She's actually the goddess of, they call her a warrior goddess.
You know, there were a few times in my backyard there was a crow that was showing up for a while.
Well, crows actually, they're the only bird that actually, crows and ravens, can travel from our world into the spirit world and back. So they bring messages.
Crows, ravens, and cats?
Yep. The crows, though, especially, the crows are very, very magical. And if you find crow feathers, too, those are signs. If you see a crow on your left side, that means everything will go smooth for you. If it's on your right side, it's caution. So if you're driving, too, and you may see a crow on the right side of the car, as you're driving,
Take
maybe
a different
flying.
route.
Yeah, it's almost like be aware of it. And I know these things that may sound
They say the
new
same thing
agey.
if a black cat crosses your path while you're driving, either take a different route or be a little bit more cautious.
Well, actually, too, and Richie and I were driving home from the shop the other day, and a black cat ran across the street, and I'm like, oh, great. And then I stopped, and I said, you know what? Why am I thinking that way? See, why, of all people, am I thinking that way?
Right.
And I just shrugged it off, because, you know, a cat is a cat, no matter what color it is.
That's
you know?
right.
And again, too, anything that we see dark, like the skull head, too, we see it's got the black coloring, we always think of something dark or evil. And it's not, it really isn't. But with the pendulums are amazing because we can ask pendulums yes or no questions. It's also a form of divination.
Right.
I have to say, too, over the years, I've mastered it. What I do is I can actually take playing cards, like the
Regular?
Queen, King,
Yeah.
and Jack out. And with the pendulum, I will ask the pendulum, I'll lay 5 out, and I'll ask the pendulum, is this a King or Queen, yes or no? And I write it. When I first started, I was getting maybe 1 out of 3. Now I do 5 out of 5.
In other words, the pendulum is telling you what card is
Underneath it.
underneath it. Wow.
And that's just an exercise to develop.
I see.
Because then we can start to ask the questions like, you know, am I going to be successful? You know, will I get this job? Will I get this love? And pendulums are very good for that because with the pendulums, it comes from our subconscious mind.
Ah.
So
And your subconscious knows what's
everything.
going on.
Exactly. Our conscious mind knows nothing. It's all subconscious.
So show us, how do you hold the pendulum?
Well, what I do is, and we'll use the scrying mirror because there's also, I call them spirit boards, and we actually make handmade ones too at the shop that say yes, no, and maybe. And I
But
should
it's
have brought
not a
one.
Ouija board.
It's not a Ouija board at all. It has nothing to do with anything like that at all.
Uh-huh.
So what I'll usually do is I'll put it down, and then I'll lift it up, and then I'll keep
Now
my
your
hand
elbow
very
is on the
straight.
table.
And then what you're going to do is you're going to hold it in your hand, and you're going to let your subconscious mind now take over. So I'm going to ask the pendulum to show me yes.
Now it's just going back and forth like a pendulum.
Yep. So my up and down is always yes. Everybody's will be different, but once you establish what it is, it always will be the same.
On that same pendulum.
Yep. So show me yes. That's my up and down. I'm
That's
going to close
just
my eyes.
back and forth, back and
Yep.
forth.
I'm going to close my eyes. Show me no. Now watch, my hands is still.
It's going around in a circle now.
My circles, my particular circles are no. Now if you watch my arm and my hand, I'm not moving it at all.
No, you're not.
It's all subconscious.
It's going and it's going around. Now you say to it like stop or something when you want to
Well,
ask a question, or you.
What'll happen is it'll start moving too. Like my brain right now is asking a question too, and I'm like, you know, am I sitting next to Christine?
Okay,
And
well,
it'll-
everybody knows that you
yeah,
are.
it'll start moving. So what you want to do is you want to start out with very simple questions, stuff you'll know.
Oh, stuff you know the
Just
answer
to-
is
yeah.
to see if it's.
Exactly. Get
it's right on.
established with it.
Ah.
And then you can start asking things too, like, you know, you want to ask it something?
Can't think of anything at the moment, but I do have a question about it. Can a particular spirit, or like say for instance, you want to talk to your mother, can you say, "Mom, would you control the pendulum?"
Well, you can actually, any divination tool, you can actually call an energy in to help you with this. I remember too, and seriously, when I was growing up, people might think I was insane because I remember sitting at the table with my mother, and we would have a cup of tea, and we would use the tea bag. We would squeeze the tea bag and ask it yes or no questions because it worked like a pendulum. A tea bag.
Oh,
So we would
a
sit across
used
from
tea
each
bag
other.
or a
No,
new tea bag?
A used one as we were dunking in our tea.
And you squeeze it out.
You squeeze it out and you start asking questions. I mean, sometimes I think I should be in a loony bin. This is the stuff I do, but it works. And we would just sit across from each other and ask it questions. And it would move, and it would work just like a pendulum. And it'd say, show me yes, and show me no.
I'll have to try that next time I
And
have
we
a cup
would
of
just
tea.
sit and talk and do stuff like this.
Yeah.
That's the magic that I remember.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
That's what gets me excited. Doing stuff like that.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
Like the family magic. And you know, you can do work with a coven too, but the family magic to me will always be in my heart.
Oh,
That's
sure.
it. Yeah.
Well, now you're a witch, and your mother was one as well.
Yes.
Was she also a Catholic, or was she?
My dad was Catholic.
Your dad was Catholic. Your,
My
your mother
mom was
Wiccan.
raised Catholic,
Uh-huh.
but she was a witch. So
She's one of
she
those
went-
people
yep.
that practice
She-
both religions.
She went through all, you know, her communion, confirmation, but then she found witchcraft.
Oh,
so
she found
witchcraft, so
So
she
it just doesn't go
stopped.
like way back.
Right.
But she stopped being a Catholic to become a Wiccan.
Yeah, it was something that, like me too, it was always something that she felt.
Kind
and
of a
something that
calling
she
in a
was drawn
way.
to. And the family always did moving the tables, and you know, they always did this stuff around her. So lighting candles and incense was always something that was norm for her. But it was just that my grandmother wanted her to have a communion and her confirmation, and you know, she went to Catholic school till she graduated 12th grade. So she knew all about that, but that wasn't for her, even though she went through it for my grandmother. With me, she was so much more lenient because she knew
That you had it in you.
I had it in me, and I didn't have to go through what she went through, and almost hiding it from my grandmother at the time.
Oh, no. So
And now we all, you know, everybody,
now everybody
now
knows.
Yeah.
So what did your grandmother say when she found out her grandson was also into it?
But you know what? My grandma was very cool about it too.
Uh-huh.
She was very accepting about it because I explained to her
Yeah.
what we were and what we weren't.
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, Wiccans, by and large, are not bad people there, and their beliefs are not anti-God or anything.
No, exactly. You know, we don't bash any other religion. We respect every religion, just like we would want our religion respected.
Yeah.
So it's not, we don't run out and, you know, we don't, like you said, we don't bash anyone
Right.
or do anything like that. But it's just about, you know, tolerance and understanding and accepting. And, you know, doing shows like this, if we can change one person's view or one person's mind, it would be great.
Well, yeah, that's it. Well,
You know?
you see, like, I mean, I've been doing this show for 13 years now, and a lot of people that have recognized me have told me that they do get a lot of information from my shows.
Exactly.
And they learn things that they would not have learned otherwise, information that they would not have come across otherwise.
Exactly.
And so, you know, there you have it.
And can I say too, and I get a lot of people who also say this, and I'm not saying it because you're sitting next to me, but as a host of the show, I truly appreciate that you let me explain.
Oh, of
and
course. I mean,
you let me talk about it without.
this is not about me. This is about my audience being able to learn things that they would not normally be able to learn, to come away even with more knowledge and even maybe a greater appreciation of something.
Exactly. If they come out with a little bit more, but I just wanted to take that time to thank you for letting me talk and, you know, saying what I had to say.
Yeah, well, that's what you're here for.
Thank you.
That's what I invite my guests for, to talk.
Thank you.
Say what they have to say, give information to my audience so that I can share with others whatever I can to make maybe, hopefully, their lives a little bit better.
Because you'll be surprised too, and people that even come into the shop, not all of them are witches, and a lot of people know of the show.
Oh yeah,
And
and many times I've been in your shop and people have walked in and recognized me.
absolutely. You know, because you don't just take one topic. You don't just stick to one topic of just psychics or something. You know, you explore everything. And you let the guests just kind of just indulge.
And I take it as it comes. Whatever topic comes along at that point in time is what I go with.
Absolutely.
Because that's what the universe wants me to do, what God wants me to do, to put out this, just follow what I'm being shown.
Exactly. And that's the whole thing. What we are being shown is what path we need to kind of run with and work with.
Exactly. And we all have to just ask to be put on the right path and shown that that is the right path for us.
And it is hard.
Yeah.
It's very hard, but...
You have to be open to the information. You have to be open. Yeah, and patient.
And patient.
Yes.
Because even with the candles and the oils, it's divine timing. Everything in the right and correct time.
That's right.
You know,
So, but getting back to finishing up a little
absolutely.
about Halloween. So it's the time when the veil is the thinnest. We can have cards read, talk to our
ancestors,
or
our
other
loved
loved ones that are deceased. And Halloween and May 1st now, as you have told us, are the best days to do that.
And also putting up a ancestral altar, putting pictures or mass cards of people who passed away,
Oh, yeah?
and light a white candle to honor them.
That's a nice idea,
Absolutely. We do ancestral altars at the shop.
Yeah.
And we also do one in the house.
Okay.
So even if you had somebody that you'd like to bring a picture of, you can bring it to the shop, and we would absolutely keep it for you throughout the month, and then we'd give it back to you.
That's nice.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's very nice to know. Okay, well, in the meantime, our time is up,
Oh,
and I think
great.
we've covered quite a
Oh,
bit.
absolutely.
We had a nice conversation, and I thank you for coming.
Thank you for inviting me again.
Oh, like I said,
It's
my
always a
pleasure. We'll
pleasure.
do something in the future.
Thank you.
Okay, and everyone, good night and have a happy Halloween.
Yes.